down till I'm 6 feet, but pocket full on repeat. Alright, Papa talking about emergency. I ain't worried, they ain't no disease. Gotta get paid. Go down till I'm 6 feet, but pocket full on repeat. Strong with pocket full on repeat. Gotta count up and I've been down. Picture go about 100 miles. Battery can't miss now. Standing tall, ready, always on go. Taking me to pin town. PO said slow down, so I cover wave and I skip town. 16 was on underage, that's 12 jurors in a mistrial. They seen I was underpaid, said you wide, no 10 time. I need like a man, even if your eyes don't dare to me. Touchdown like I had a 6 with a shimmy, nigga, that's a possible. Don't be worried about what straw do. Lose you and I'ma do I. 30 boy got a paint job with a clear coat and some fall guy. The girlfriend nigga took a beat out of fresh meat, no big fire. Give me win and Beyonce, put a ring on it in the lunch line. Head coach and I'm on the court. Referee, but I'm shoot three. Put sweat in it to the green. So my water, I can barely breathe. Kelly Slater with the board flip. Push it up when the chords hit. Violins in a bell tip. Open up, let me splash it. Brother. All the stuff about emergency. I ain't worried, they ain't notice me. Gotta get paid. Goes on till I'm 6 feet. I'm pocket full on repeat. Alright, Papa stuff about emergency. I ain't worried, they ain't notice me. Gotta get paid. Goes on till I'm 6 feet. I'm pocket full on repeat. Second round of the fight, something ain't right. I gotta do my work. You walking through the air, no night flight. That was the people. Got one life to live, and I put 15 on all the hit the ground. Once they grab it, that's the Usain Bolt. So like 2 finger signs so far, I can't be caught. 90 is crunch time, and I send it home like a walk-off. AMG on steroid, get the flex muscle with a knife there. Coming full force, no water, just know I don't fight fair. Took flight, no flight fair. Hot rounds out of hot barrel. Put the mic in the head, lock until we tap, 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 tap there. Short SCPR, what the hell are he need for? Took him to the water, let him up. Time for you a lifeguard. I'm a whole damn lifeguard. Been there, swim with shark. Might show me what's hard. Get skatebooks and I count cards. Play my hand for the W. Time told about who is who. They be on that who is who. I'm on the surfboard. I'm coming through. Strout.
What's up? What's up? This is your boy, Mr. Know-It-All, and I'm here with the lovely Miss Bella. I'm ready to get the show started. Tell them what show topic is so we can get this thing on the road.
Well, hello everybody. Happy Tuesday to you. Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to Marcus Honeysucker on YouTube and Mr. Know-It-All on Facebook. One other thing, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It doesn't cost a thing. Just do those things for him. On this subject tonight, we're talking about are our kids getting in a meaningful relationship? So are you helping your kids find love, or are they on their own? So are we teaching our kids about love and meaningful relationships, being a companion to somebody, getting married, being a companion, being a partner with somebody to grow for better? Or are they just on their own, just learning from life? So we're talking about it.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, I'll tell you this. When I think about it, I don't think our kids, I don't think, I think they might start off choosing because of love, but I think our kids was foolish just like us. And just don't make good decisions on their own. I see it all the time. I think our kids don't have the the know-how, the pop in their life, the mother in their life to tell them how many mistakes they made and don't make the same mistakes I made type thing. I think we catch kids a lot of time just trying to wing it. Just don't know which way to go, just winging it. What you think?
A lot of times, the children that are facing life situations now, they are dealing with life errors because of what they've been seeing. A lot of kids are like what they see. That's how it works. They move on what they've experienced in life, what they see, things like that. So,
What's up, Kimberly King up into his house, up in this thing?
hello, hello.
Yeah. But so what do you think when it comes to this topic? What's the first thing come up to you when you think about your kid, grandkid, or anybody going out there trying to make their own decisions, trying to find love? What the first thing come through your head?
The first thing comes through my head is I hope you find love better than I have. And I've never gave my son instructions on choosing, but I gave him instructions on respecting people and respecting himself. So just giving those type of things in his life, hopefully he will choose the right person that will respect him and be compatible with him, that you don't have to accept anything from anybody, whatever they bring, things like that. So you can only give so much, but people are going to face life by themselves, and you can't do anything to control the outcome. So you just have to do what you can on the blueprint and hope it pan out right. But some parents don't even talk to their children about love and marriage. They talk to them about what they've been through. And in doing so, they take what you've been through and they compare it to their lives on their life decisions when you never faced that. And that's the outcome for a lot of people. You've never been through some of the things that you say you're not going to deal with because you've never been there.
Yeah, and I can see that because, like I say, sometimes when you ain't been there and you don't want them to go through the same thing you went through, I just look at it as sometimes when we ain't got no healthy relationship, our kids are doomed to make the same mistake. If the only thing they got to see is us not in a good relationship. You know what I'm saying? So I think, when it comes to kids, I think their back is against the wall sometimes because it's like they trying to make it, but how can they, when they look up and they say, you know, they never seen it. Now, like it's just like trying to tell a young lady how to get along with a man, and she's never seen her mother in a healthy relationship with a man or a man around enough to say, a lot of kids are growing up without, dads not even being around, nothing but the mama, grandmama, sisters or whatever, no men around at all. Um, how hard do you think it is trying to raise a man without having a man around in his life?
Well, I wouldn't know because I haven't been in that situation.
Well, even if you haven't been in that situation, you have to think about the
I can
friends.
assume. I can assume.
Well, when you think about friends, friends around, I think about like I think about how I've been in my child's life the whole time. But
That's a
I
blessing.
remember I remember my child telling me, over and over and over, Daddy, I'm glad you've been there because she sees, you know, relationships with kids that don't have their dad in their life, you know what I'm saying, and how angry they are because they don't have their dad in their life, or or a male figure in their life constantly. It's only so much you would have a child, even doing the get resentful over the stepdaddy culture, men in and out their life that, here for 6 months, a year, and gone, you know. So I think kids these days basically trying to figure it out on their own, on the fly, not really having guidance that they can use to guide them through the world like that. What do you think about that?
I can agree. Some people are less fortunate, because a lot of times, like women, we may not have a man in our life, so we just can't always result or expect the man in our life or not to do the thing that our children may need. So it takes a village, you
Mm.
know. So you have a village of people. So you have to be okay with the village and just not feel like you can try and do it. Us as women, a lot of us, we get in situations and we feel a little independent, because we've been doing this thing so long by ourselves. And in doing so, it make us feel like we don't need nobody, we can do this, but actually we do. That's why, single parents, like single females, we may get our children involved in sports and activities because the coaches can be a part of the village. A counselor can be a part of the village, people that you accept into the child's life. And a lot of times we have to think about the child more so than ourselves or what we feel like we need or
Mm.
if we can handle it, you know.
Yeah. What's up, Terrence? Up into his house? What's up, man? How you doing, man? Out here talking about these kids. Can the kids make it in this world like this here?
Well, we have to put more efforts into instilling in our children better lives, better way of living. When you don't do that, a lot of times we kind of spoil our children and try and just be that simple provider when we don't need that.
Yeah. Um, I think we often are put in situations that you know I was thinking about partner of the street. And I remember his the daddy was on the road, and I remember the daddy a lot of times. Me talking to the daddy. I remember a lot of times he was saying how he feel like his house was in a certain kind of order because he remember not being there for a long time. You know what I'm saying? And he said, you know, he hate that he wasn't the father that he wanted to be because he was always on the road. He worked on the highway, and he was always working 3, 6 months at a time. And he feel like his kids didn't come out exactly the way he wanted them to. You know what I'm saying? And I can understand that because I remember, at a young age, watching me uh, do something that I didn't want to do, watching me be a stepdad and not in the same household as my child, not being able to control a lot of things that was going in her life, on an everyday, basis. You know what I'm saying? So I remember, having to almost pick up my daughter at one time every day across town from the, from my house and just take her to school, and that was my way of getting that daily influence in a little bit. Even though her mom probably tried to look at it as punishing me and by trying to make me come across town just to make her, take her up to school, just too far. So it's a lot of things that men have to do, or they see these situations in that they have to go through because don't no man really want to raise his child across town or across in another state or anything like that where he don't have no kind of control over it. I feel like a lot of men are being put behind the 8 ball because they're having babies, and a lot of things is just based on the money, giving the money, and not the certain level of time that a child need all the time.
Yeah, I got you.
So what you think that can make it where kids and their dads or moms, if it's a stressful relationship, what you think that they could do to kind of put the house back together again, or not get off of these rocket stars where people get in relationships and break it up so quick because by the time they really figure out do they like each other or not, they already have a baby on the way or already problems. You know what I'm saying? So what
I
you
think
think?
the number one key to any relationship is communication. There are so many people that's in relationships that don't even talk, don't even communicate, don't express themselves, don't care to, because so many people on this, I gotta protect myself from this, I gotta protect myself from that. So that lets you know then this person is not for commitment. So if you don't have commitment between each other, you can talk about anything just about.
Mm.
So when a person decides to keep things in shelter and not tell the other partner about it, then it is what it is. This may not be for you. So communication is the key. You got to talk about things. Sometimes it may feel like it's heavy, about to destroy everything, but just talking about it is minor. If you never talk about it, how will you know the level of what the issue is? So I will only give advice: communicate, talk to each other.
Okay. When that part, communication, and I think we don't stress uh marriage enough, I guess, or I don't think we stress becoming the person's friend before they get into a sexual relationship that ends up in a baby. um I think a lot of times people get in relationships and they end up, pregnant or with a baby, or on that spiral without even really knowing each other real good, or even knowing each other's side of the family, or not even meet each other's family. And that's a big part too. Kids getting together and don't even know the other side of the family, don't know that the you know dad and the mama hate each other over there. Um, you might be cool with the mama, but the daddy might hate the man in their relationship or whatever. I think a lot of men need to get back to meeting the parents before they go any further, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got you.
Okay.
Like almost like protocol. You gotta know protocol.
Yeah, the steps. I think we have a lot of steps by steps that we don't go through no more like back in the day. I remember back in the day, um, when we had when we had when we got in relationships or was trying to get in relationships, when a boy went over to a woman house, a girl or somebody's house, unless you was hiding or this and that, you know what I'm saying? You usually had to meet the daddy first or something like that before you could go on a date, before you could go to the prom with them. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people meeting people boyfriend and girlfriend from the first time when they come pick them up to go to the prom or whatever, and be like, oh yeah, we've been together, you know, these many months, or this and that, or a lot of people don't even meet the real person. Sometimes the person that people go to the prom with is probably not even sometimes they boyfriend or something. It's just a date for the prom, but they have a whole nother different person out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I just think we get into a lot of things that we don't realize that we put our kids through, that we don't realize till later on, because they not realizing how bad it affects them. You know.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go. Let's go with one of these. Put us up on one of these topics so we can get to rolling.
Okay, so we're talking about our children getting into meaningful relationships, and are you helping kids find love, or are they on their own, right? So
Right.
a lot of times children are not getting into meaningful relationships are because of like trust issues or unhealed trauma, broken homes, it started at the house,
Right.
abandonment, you know, or past heartbreaks make commitment difficult.
Yeah.
Because at a young age, I got a baby 4 years old. I already had his heartbreak, already feeling some type of way about it all. So they feel abandoned, past heartbreaks, commitment difficult. It comes from home. It comes from what they experience or what they see. So that's what I talk about.
Right. What's up, Diddy? Up in his house? How you doing? How you doing?
Hello.
Um. Yeah, and the heartbreak is something. What's the name? Because I think a lot of kids are going through heartbreak of not having their mother or daddy in their lives, not having both parents in their lives, because I don't think a lot of kids get the yin and the yang. You know what I'm saying? How sometimes our boys, they come out and they different, or they act different, or it was not. I think that because they don't have a father to protect them uh, uh, from examples of the world that probably shouldn't be around them at certain points of their lives. And what I'm saying is, I remember, this might affect some people's mentality. I mean, thought about it, but I remember being out there and, involved with ladies with kids. And first thing I would think about is the lady friends that she have around them. They might have, um, men friends that didn't seem too right or didn't seem healthy being around a child. And back then, you know, we might have didn't notice or something, but it always been a time that we done had our children around the wrong influences. It's gang bangers, people just you shouldn't have them around because they got a different mind state or something that don't contrast with your beliefs. You know what I'm saying? Like, say if you go to church and you believe in a certain way, you should be raised or this and that, and another person is like, oh, fuck that church, fuck this, and they walk around and they talking a certain way or moving a certain way or smoking around or this and that. And you might be a positive influence on your child, but sometimes without even knowing, you can be bringing very dangerous influences around your child without even knowing. You know what I'm saying? Like to you, a lot of ladies don't on the security side and on the protection side, you don't know how many things you have to protect your child from by when you see them come out late on in life and acting different. And sometimes like you get children that say later on in life, 10, 20 years on down the line, talking about they've been touched the wrong way or they've been around, people that, was touching on them, doing something that I ain't got no business around your child, even when you was sort of around them that you didn't know. You know what I'm saying? Even family members,
Yeah.
cousins, all kind of stuff that you don't know what might have went on in their life. Friends up the street, hanging out,
Babysitter.
yeah. I remember, at a young age, I remember, all those boys, we used to come, get out the bus in the neighborhood or whatever. And we all had a friend. And we used to go over his house. And this friend, he had found his daddy's stash. His dad,
Mhm.
the daddy was married, so he found the daddy and mama stash, porno stash. So I remember when we used to go over there and he knew what time they got out of work or whatever. I remember when we used to get out the bus and then everybody used to go over his house and he used to, they had, we had the old VCR tapes or whatever, and he used to pop in the VCR tape, and we used to always remember what number it was on. It was a whole thing, and then we'll watch it, on down, and then when it get to a certain point, the VCR tape, you had to rewind it, and then you had to rewind it all the way back to the spot where we started off at, you know what I'm saying, before you put it back in the case or whatever. So, like I say, like, you never know sometimes what's going on in your house, what influence, what's name, what your child able to watch. See, back then, I remember just watching HBO, just having access to HBO. When your parents at work, if they ain't got no, they didn't have them parent codes on the channel back then that was so easy to stop children from watching certain things. Children used to watch Eddie Murphy Pryor, coming up and a lot of stuff, comedians and stuff like that. A lot of movies and stuff. If your people had cable or something, and they was at work, you was able to have access to that, even if they just had it in their room. I done been at people's house where we went and they, mama room, watch cable TV or whatever, and then try to fix everything, back high walls or whatever, before you leave and all that old type of stuff. I remember being kids like this. So I know, when we think all the time that we are hiding our kids from the world, it's easy to say, but it's easy for them to go to the next door neighbor or whoever they hanging out with, and they can go over their house and see something that you might not be showing at your house, but it's happening at their house. That's why it's so important to vent their friends, because, even when you looked at Boys in the Hood and stuff like that, it always was a good kid, and he was still hanging out with bad kids, and he could get into the same trouble that them kids got into because they were friends, and that friend bond, it was like if somebody jumped on them, one of them, it jumped on the whole group. So the whole group might go to, I remember being with our little posses and all that, and we used to go ride our bikes to another neighborhood, just to fight other neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying? And people don't understand how much this stuff happens, just because you raise your child. If you're not monitoring who your child is hanging out with, it's just like you're not even raising him right, because he can still get to other people, things what people was doing. I remember, being in the creek and being other places. And I remember, when we was young, the big gangbangers and stuff used to come in the neighborhood, and they be smoking and drinking, and they trying to pass you stuff. And that's the whole thing. The only kids that was half scared was the kids that was probably had a daddy, at their house or whatever. They know if they came home smelling like liquor or smelling with, smoked cigarette or weed, they would get in serious trouble. They would get, so it was that fear of the pop. It really wasn't the fear of the mama a lot of times, because I remember moms always a little more lax. You can get some mouthwash put on you or something, spray a couple of things or somebody else's perfume. You can walk in your mama's house and she be like, "Oh, you had a nice day." Oh, blah, blah, blah. She not on you, but a man, I remember, going by my father's house, hanging out with my father and just coming in and just seeing how he's examining me, more than my mom did. Come here, boy. Turn around. You know what I'm saying? Raise your foot up. Raise your foot up. He want to see what kind of dirt on the bottom of your foot and all kind of stuff. Like, where you been? I went out there. I didn't see you out there, this and that, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I was over there. It wasn't like, no. He'll tell you, no, don't go in nobody's house. You know, don't do that, because a lot of daddies know all the evil that's out there, and he's trying to protect you from around them. And the moms are more, you know, kind of open to ideas or where you can go or where you can get, you know, go to and this and that. Be like, oh, it'll be all right. Yeah. How long you say? Oh, you're just gonna be over there an hour? Oh, yeah, sure. You know, this and that. When a man be like, nah, even if you go over there, you better not be in the house. You know what I'm saying? Or something like that. You know, you stay outside, you know, and stuff like that. And I think that's a lot of things that men bring a lot of stability, where they tell you now, not even if you want to do certain things, that no, you're not gonna do this, you're not gonna do that. And I think that brings a different level of how you should move. What's up, Sharon, up in the his house? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? We on this thing. You know, how well and issues did we raise these kids around here? A lot of these kids wasn't raised as well as we think they raised, and sometimes we turn around and think kids are raised very good. But we got to realize, you know, when we put clothes on their body and food in their mouth, that is not actually raising a child. That is, you know, what you call it?
Nurturing.
Yeah, I'm looking for another word. You know, when you okay, you, it's like how you say it?
Neglecting. When you
I'm saying when you you know, you can feed a child and you can clothe a child, but that's not a raising a child. What is that called? That's called like you know, more like first base. Like if you compare it to a baseball game, it's like putting them on first base. You know what I'm saying? You just
priority.
Yeah, you know, you getting them ready for the world a little bit, but you're not really telling them how to steal the next base, how to get to second base, how to get to the third, how to hit a home run, how to make the whole movement. Sometimes we feel like we giving them the game by telling a child to. Sometimes we can tell a child to. Telling a child what we know a little bit, but we're not giving them the game, as in when a child is raised in a, you know, just when in a mother thing, I don't think he get enough sit down and talk to you know, the oh, you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that. It's like I was watching a lot of old school, like Bad, and a lot of dudes I remember out in the streets and this and that, and I see, you know, when they get out there and they talking to people, that they saying, okay, when you get pulled over by the police, you know what I'm saying, you should do this. You don't be trying to pull out your phone to film and all this old type of stuff. You need to be compliant, do what they say, don't be making those sudden moves. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember back in the day, because, police always been scary of a sort because they always had a level of power. See, nowadays, police have this camera on them all the time that even sometimes some of these bad police officers, they forget they have their camera on them sometimes. You know what I'm saying? And they mess up and do some, do stuff that they be like, oh man, I'm being filmed, and be done forgot that they being filmed, and it's just like us. If we traveled every day, it's like if you put a camera in your car. I got one of them dash cams that go back and forth that watch the inside and out, and it's been up there for so long. When it first was up there, I used to be trying to watch sometimes, what I say or whatever, sometimes. But after it's there so long, you kind of forget it's there. You know what I'm saying? And you start just being a regular, doing regular stuff again. This is like cameras around your house. Sometimes we forget cameras all around our house and we be out there cussing this and that. And that's why half the time we could go back on the camera, and if you share it, we can have some funny stuff on the camera that we never know that was on there because we not paying attention to the camera no more. You know what I'm saying? We don't realize when we go home and if we go out drinking or whatever we did and we get home and we stumbling or whatever we doing, that front camera that's there gonna catch your whole movement coming in and out down. So if you wanted to see how messed up you was last night, sometimes if you just watch your camera will tell you, oh Lord, look at me getting out the car. Oh Lord, look at me stumbling around this and that. And I think these days kids have it a little better sometimes because they don't have the same police and the same overseers of them as we did. And sometimes they have it worse because when they get home now, they got cameras all around the house, and soon as the kid go outside, mom can call back. Where you going? Where you going? Get back in the house. You know what I'm saying? So it works both ways now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So sometimes technology can be good, but technology can see stuff that you didn't know that was happening around your house. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
Yeah. So sometimes you can look at technology and it's just like say if I remember being with the guys whatever, and say you got cameras around your house, and say if a guy pull up and he talking to his partner outside, he not thinking about the cameras. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes he out there, he talk to his partner this and that. The wife could be not even at the house. She can be at work. She be watching her cameras and saying, "Oh, this what y'all did?" He come talking and this and that, and a lot of people probably that lost relationships and all kind of stuff just with the camera catching them saying some stuff or this and that. And it's the same thing with kids these days. A lot of kids, I'm gonna tell you, when you have kids that's not being straight up honest with you, or they playing certain games. If a kid know you got cameras around your house, whatever, if you got a kid that they want to park on the bottom of the street and sit in the car half of the day or talk in the car, whatever. They trying to hide another part of themselves away from you. You know what I'm saying? If they got a car and say it's a park down the street or whatever, and instead of just being at the house, they driving to the park or hanging in the car down the street or across the street or whatever, they are trying to hide something from you. That's why they're moving a certain kind of way. So people got to realize if you got children and they spend more time sitting in the car and out somewhere to the bushes or going walking out of town, I'm finna go walk to the store, I'm finna go to what's name house. They never bring their friends around to your house. They trying to hide a part of their life from you. So we have to be honest with ourselves and sometimes and do a little investigation on what's going on with our children and around our children and all that old type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Hello? Miss Bella? Did you froze? Oh, okay. Saying I'm doing well. We doing all right, and we trying to get it popping. I think my co-host done froze up for a split second, but I'm sure she'll be back in a split second and all that good stuff. And while she doing that, I'm finna put up one more banner. All right. All right. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Okay. I knew I was talking. I was like, oh Lord, she is very still. She ain't never been that quiet before. Okay. There's a new one down there. Come on with it.
So maybe they've had fear created by modern dating culture, like the talking stage, the ghosting, the cheating, and lack of commitment, discourage deeper relationships. So if you've had those things where you used to talk, then my girl, whatever, people done ghost you, people done mistreated you and decided to sleep with Tom, Dick, and Harry, just don't even talk to you about it. It probably discouraged people from even considering relationships again.
Yeah. And I can say another thing is they can be watching your relationship and watching how you move and cussing everybody out every day and all that and be like, man, all this come with, relationship. So, I mean, sometimes failing relationships around people, it's just like men that don't get married. I don't think men just set out to not get married. I think men are, when at a young age, all our partners ever thought about was the day they might get married and all that kind of stuff and this and that. And I think once you get into the dating stage and you see how much stuff going on and how women are moving and this and that, especially when you've been out there and you've seen like you said, the cheating, the ghosting, and disappearing of women or something like that, or in this era, just the blocking, men that get in relationship with women and then next thing you know, they don't answer the phone no more or block you or you don't know what you did wrong. And it can be simple stuff as in you didn't call them that day or they don't feel like you talked to them enough or any old thing. And a lot of women run instead of opening up a communication line to talk and work out certain differences. And I think men used to feel like they had say so in a relationship. And I think it got to the point that it felt like a relationship started being geared towards the women all the way around on their happiness. You know, we came up with them certain phrase, happy wife, happy life, and all this kind of stuff. And I think men felt forgotten. And you know, now you got women openly saying, "Oh, I don't cook, clean, but I still got that ring." And I think the same thing that men was getting back in the day, they're not getting no more. Like, you know, when you thought about getting married, you thought about getting married because you know, even the wedding, a woman having white on represents her being pure, you know. And people forget about little things about the wedding dress and all this kind of stuff that makes a difference in, you know, how stuff is. You know, with the wedding dress, I remember one of the partners one time he said, you know, some of these women wedding dress out there need to be black because they are they they like a thief in a knife. You know how they do, how they move and stuff out here. So, you know, um, you know, it was meant for a woman to be pure, um, um, a virgin, and I think all men, most men, was sold this thing that they was gonna, you know, get older. You know, they was gonna grow up and they was gonna get somebody that, you know, hadn't been with nobody. Y'all was gonna get together, make a family, you know, have 2, 3 kids, a dog, a pinky fist. It was this thing, that this aura about marriage, you know, 2 dogs, 2 kids, white picket fence, a little bitty house. I remember when they used to put up the little house, a little Johnny coming home from work in the little car, you know what I'm saying? And back then, it wasn't but one car parked at the house. It wasn't 3, 4 cars parked around the little house and thing. It was made to feel like, um, you know, once you got out of work, you came home, your dinner was cooked. They had a whole story to sell men about marriage. You know what I'm saying? And how great it would be for a man and this and that. And that same story is not being sold no more because I think a lot of women are over marriage. A lot of women want more of a partnership than and the partnership looks different. Um, the partnership used to be the man went out, you know, made the money, the woman stayed home, took care of the kids, didn't have to worry about, you know, these you know, daycare places and all that, because the woman stayed home and took care of the child, picked them up at school. That was the whole thing, you know, high school, get out. And that would have me wondering, how can a mom really do it, how the school things change. You know, sometimes they just, if you go to work every day and then they just automatic just, oh, school out today, school out for 3 days this week. School, you know, we don't come back in, you know, if your child is sick or cough. I remember back in the day, they had a whole nurse at the school that tried to treat the child and send them back in the room or whatever they doing. And now it's like, you know, it's it's like you getting sent home as soon as you get a half a cough. And what to do now? Now you got to take them to daycare, got to find a daycare and then that, or you got to find a grandma or somebody, you know, to pay to us. I mean, it's so much thing against, you know, how to help a woman raise a child. I know it was real hard back in the day, you know, trying to raise a child by yourself, because I remember kids missing the bus and stuff like that, and maybe the other parent can, you know, Oh, he missed the bus. Oh, I'm getting up. I take him to school or whatever, whatever. And you just don't have that two-parent household to nurture a child like that. So what you think about that part of the game?
Well, I agree. You know, things just change. It's called life. That's all to it.
Yeah, I think how they say evolving. The world is changing faster than we can see it, and I think a lot of things evolving, and I think marriage is one of the things that's evolving out because um, I was looking at a study and it was saying about how kids deal with social media and how it's making them, have less and less. I was thinking the other day, most people can't stand to look at something over 3 minutes now. That's just how it is. Like even whole rap songs then broke down to like 2 minutes and 30 seconds because people can't even listen to a song that long. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember when I came up, we had songs. I remember songs I used to play Too Short and a lot of songs, Master P. We had songs that lasted 8 minutes, 6 minutes, just one song. You know what I'm saying? And then I remember when they started cutting them down for the radio, then it was like 3 minutes and 45 seconds. Then it was 3 minutes and 30 seconds. And then now the songs, then I was looking at songs on what's the name, and it's 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And sometimes I look at songs that you look up in things, and the average song now is almost about 2 minutes and 30 seconds now.
Hmm.
By the time you get into a song, it's over with, and that's how they like it. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't want to be. It's like everybody want to be their own DJ. I watch kids, look at their tablet. They look at something, they can't even watch it all the way through. If it's 8 minutes long, they gonna stay on it maybe a minute. They swiping and they got something else in their face. And I think that's what's affecting society when you got a culture where everything's taking over your mind that quick. How can you pay attention to one person for a long time? Because it's just like you feel like it's a swipe right. And I think a lot of women was raised on that with them dating sites where they just swipe right, swipe this, and picking out dates and picking out people they want to talk to and people they didn't want to talk to. You know what I'm saying? So I think you know um, you have a lot of days like Christian Mingle, this Mingle, you got all kind of different. Because I remember back in then it was just, um, it was a black dating site, white dating site, country dating site. It was just certain little sites, a Christian dating site, a Muslim dating site. That was it. But now it then blowed up. And as if you like pink hair dating site, you know what I'm saying? Like it's a dating site for everybody. Every kind of different person in the world is a dating site. They don't group nothing in no more. So I think everybody is being such individuals that it's hard for a child to just maintain on something. I think back in the day, because every child, I was talking to my partner the other day, we were riding, and he was like, man, look at that child right there. It was a child sitting out there, couldn't have been about 4 years old, had a whole cell phone in the hand, just walking, you know what I'm saying? Just boom. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, back in the day, we didn't have something to babysit us. Our phones and tablets basically babysit children around here. People stick a tablet, stick a phone in a child face, and they know that child will be still for hours at a time. You know what I'm saying? Just going through a phone, just just like that there. And I think it's going to be harder and harder for children to get into meaningful relationships and all that because their whole life been a blur. It been, not being focused on nothing. And then now you sit up there saying they not focused on something and they're moving around so much. Then you wonder, how can these kids um, deal with one person? How can they? They barely can see their mamas and daddies dealing with one person. You know what I'm saying? If you sitting around and imagine you're a kid and you with mama all day and you listen to mama on the phone all day. Yeah, bitch, listen and that. Oh, I went on a date with such. Oh no, Lord, this and that and blah blah blah. And they see you rotating in, in and out your life, and then they'll go over there to the dad, and they see the daddy. Oh man, yeah, man, I got rid of that motherfucker. She was crazy, man. I couldn't deal with her. So you looking at daddy in and out of relationships too. And I was talking to a partner just probably I think it was around about 3 o'clock today, and I was listening to him, and it felt the same way. Like he was like, "Oh man, I was like, well, hey man, what happened to such and that? Oh man, that mother crazy, man." So everybody going through a thing where it just rotating, trying to find the perfect fit that ain't gonna never come. And you're looking for this perfect fit. And I even see people that get on, podcasts or get it on what's the name, and they trying to be these super gurus on relationship, and then it's crazy because they don't even, some half of them don't even be in relationships, and they tell you, oh yeah, if a person don't accept you for this and they can't accept you for being like this and being like that, you should just let them go because you gonna find the perfect one for you and all that stuff. And you be sitting up there saying, no, that ain't how a lot of people every day is struggling just to stay in their relationship. So how can a person sit up there and start talking about finding the perfect relationship or something else when they struggling to even be with one person or even dealing with dating? There's a lot of women and men that are scared to even the dating scene out here. I heard plenty of women say, "Oh, I done gave up. The Lord is my man," and all that. Jesus got so many women now that I'm starting to think that Jesus is a pimp. Okay, let me stop. Because I'm just saying, you would hear, women just back and forth talking about, "Oh yeah, I'm God, the only person I need in my life," and this and that, blah blah blah, and like I had read up in the book a while back, it say, how can you believe in the thing that you cannot see, but you cannot even trust the things you can see right around you? And so I feel like a lot of people, we get into a higher power, something we can't see, and we be like, oh yeah, 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 yeah. But we don't trust nobody around in our little old circle. We don't trust no man, no woman, nobody around here. And then we say we trust God. We can trust the person we can't see. It's just like a person with an imaginary friend. When you grew up and people had an imaginary friend, like I love my imaginary friend and talk to my imaginary friend, but I don't like regular people. That sounds crazy. You feel what I'm saying? And that's what you're saying in so many words, that I can talk to somebody that's that's a higher power, that not here, this and that, but I can't talk to the average person. The average person out there, the average man out here, the average woman out here, I can't even hold a good conversation with them. But then I can talk to the Lord and expect the Lord to understand, everything I'm going through. But I can't even talk to regular people out here. And I think we getting it wrong somewhere. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
We should talk to our fellow man out here. And when we alienate each other and act like we can't talk to each other, I mean, people are so like, distance from everything. You know what I'm saying? And I see it all the time. You know what I'm saying? What you thinking?
I mean, I agree with you. It's nothing to think about it. It's just the truth. It is what it is. It's the life that we live.
Yeah. So hey, let's see. Let me get to the next one then. Come on with it.
So, one other reason people are in survival mode. The youth focus more on work, school, or helping their family relationships take a backseat. So just say for instance, your mother struggled a long time to rear you, and then you try to come up. I want to take a relief from my parents, my mother, my father, and I want to be able to come and make this money so their lives can be better. It's people out there that's living life because of those things.
Mm.
Everybody going into survival mode. We got to survive.
Well, and I'm gonna tell you another thing with it because I was talking to one of my partners and he was talking about getting some insurance because he was saying to himself, if anything happened to him, he would like to set up his kids to be, better. But I also talked to one of my partners the other night, and he'd probably be mad at me saying this on the show because he watched the show often. But he said, man, he said, when I die, he said, that's why I ain't got nothing. It's nothing for nobody to fight over. He said, because I die, ain't nobody getting shit. And I think that's the wrong way to look at it. And that's why, unfortunately, we're around here having GoFundMe's and stuff like that once somebody died because the person that died, all they were trying to do is take care of themselves. Wasn't thinking
Live
about,
life one day at a time.
not thinking about their funeral, not thinking about the burden they leaving for somebody else. When you die, and if you ain't got no plan to leave your offspring or anything, then what did you live for? And do you really care about the kids or whoever you putting out here when you put them out here and you say, even when I die, I'm gonna punish you um, with these bills and other stuff, when I die, um, um, you got to, when you was here, a lot of people balling out, doing all kind of stuff. And then when they die, they leaving people with bills and stuff. So I'm just wondering, what's up with that. You know. So I can feel the survival mode and trying to help their kids, what's the name? But I think we got to be more helpful of trying to leave our kids something or not leave them our bills or this and that. If we can go out here and party and have fun, we should be able to put up enough money for at least bury ourselves. So we won't leave them that burden of trying to bury us and go in debt and make life even more harder on a person because you want to live life day for day and didn't want to save a dime. There's people dying without a bank account. You know what I'm saying? you know. So what you think about that?
I mean, there are so many circumstances with it, but I understand where you're going with it.
What's up, Nikki? Up in his house, up in this thing.
Good evening, Nikki.
All right, come on with it. One more.
So peer pressure and social influences. Friends often promote independence. Situationships are keeping options open.
Break that down for us.
I mean, just what it is. You see how people live and move, and it seems comfortable. So you want to jump on that same bandwagon, and you want to be just independent, scot free, situationships for whatever is comfortable for you, whatever the person is um, good for you for. So you have a situationship with them, and you always keep your options open. What if? And that's how a lot of relationships does not work, doesn't grow, doesn't even develop anything because people keep their options open. They never close the door from them being with somebody or committed to someone. They always want to leave it open, leave everybody in suspense because they like that door open. So that's a person that's not for commitment. That's what we deal with these days. It's just a common thing now. That's what's going on.
So when you're saying peer pressure, social influence, friends often promote independence. So what you're saying is a lot of times a person could even be in a good relationship, but their friends or friends, and I'm gonna say family too, could cause a rift between the relationship. Um, I was watching something the other day. Me and my partner went out, and I seen this dude. He was at the club, and he was all over his girl. And you know how you say sometimes doing too much. Sometimes doing too much. You could have kept it at home. I mean, the girl was playing in his hair and all that, and they was sitting up there, and they was all Google-eyed in each other, and I'm like, golly, y'all came to the club and y'all like boom, boom, boom. And then I reached over to my partner. I said, see, that dude right there. I said, that's the type of dude that if he caught his girlfriend cheating or something, that's the type of dude that probably would try to delete the whole family. Everybody that probably knew about it. And it seemed funny, but like people don't realize a lot of men out here be deeply in love with a lot of women and stuff. And women got to be very careful what type of love they want. And if you want a man that really, really loves you to death, like I always say, be careful what you ask for because you just might get it. So you go out there and you step out and you do kind of a little thing, or you move a little different than you're supposed to be moving, and you get caught up or whatever. Because, just like a joke was telling me the other day, you got men and women that's dropping air tags and trying to trace each other and trying to track each other's phone and all kind of stuff. And you don't realize, when you don't have a level of trust and you go and you start doing that type of thing, and even if a person is in an innocent situation, it can become deadly if you out with the wrong person, or like say if you did, you went somewhere and say you went to a car party or you went to somebody's house to drink or whatever, and it's, you know, they ambush you. You know, somebody invited you over there, know they had friends over there trying to holler at you or whatever. And then all of a sudden, your guy or your girl, you know, show up or whatever, and it's big issue. You know what I'm saying? And tense situations like that can get people in trouble because, like I said, people are always watching each other, tracking each other, trying to see what's going on with this person, that person. And, you know, that's why a lot of things, you know, influences can get you in trouble. Friends can get you in trouble. Friends trying to lie for you, trying to get you to go certain places you shouldn't go. Um, um, you know, friends that's picking you up, you in one set of clothing, and your friends got your other hot clothes in the other car, and then you go and you get with your friend, you go to your friend house, you change clothes, you go out there and you go out a certain kind of way, and then you try to change back, and then you try to get in your regular clothes and go back home.
That's just too much.
Yes, it's people out here doing too much, just like you said. You know, there's people out there that's doing that with their friends or whatever that's being, you know, helping them move a certain kind of way. And like I said, you know, it's men out there that's kind of dangerous that see stuff like that and stuff can go down.
Well, listen, I'm just saying, like, if you got to do all of that, leave the relationship. Why deal with it? Why even worry about it? That's too much work. You know, that's what you call crazy work for real. That's crazy.
Well, I was talking to my cousin one time, and he was married, and I remember him going through some things, and I remember him saying how, you know, even thinking about his wife, you know, him being in and out of jail or whatever, and you know, him just watching how his wife move, you know what I'm saying? Like she's, you know, trying to go out with friend girls, still, you know, this and that at certain time of night, and you know, not getting into 1, 2 in the morning or whatever. And I feel like, you know, people that are married and or even staying together sometimes have a different probably should move a little different. Um, move a little better, especially if it seems like, you know, the man is kind of guessing where his wife or girlfriend mindset is. Like you say, sometimes you can feel like it's too much work, whatever, but it is actually women that, you know, they go and they try to put on some regular old stuff to get up out the house without less trouble or this and that. But you know, they got heels either stuffed up in their car or a whole new outfit or whatever. And then something, like I say, they'll go to their friend house, change, get into a whole new outfit, another outfit, go out, come back, change back into their old outfit and go home. And this been going on for the test of time. But see, the only thing that's different between now and back then is a lot of ladies have ruined their own club experiences, by not being able to hide nothing. See, you know, I was talking to partner, I ain't gonna name the club name, but I was talking to partner because, you know, you got clubs that, you know, it's only a few clubs that they got that they don't want you going live in the club and taking a lot of pictures in the club. And, you know, you don't get a chance to do all that. And I think them are some of the clubs that some ladies don't go to just because they can't expose the club. You know, it's still an old school type of setting that you actually have to talk to people. You can't just. I went in the club the other day with my partner, and nobody's on the phone, nobody's up live, nobody's sitting in front of a camera dancing to themselves, to somebody at home. You know what I'm saying? You actually got to go out to the club and mingle with people. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the problem. A lot of women can't have fun in a lot of clubs because every club they go into is 10 to 12 people in that club trying to go live, trying to take pictures of everybody in the club or whatever. And if you was in there doing anything, you ain't got no business dancing, anything. Stuff that used to be secret is not secret no more. You know, you might tell a person, "Oh no, I ain't drinking tonight," and then oh yeah, I was watching my partner live and seeing you in the club just drinking and having a good old time, because these places expose what's happening out there, because women have got to the point of they want everybody to know at the club, at home, what they doing in the club. Nobody having real good fun, regular fun no more, because everybody want somebody. I was watching something the other day, and the man was preaching about people buying certain cars, dressing a certain light, because this is their thing of trying to seem like they got it or they have something. And I think that's the same thing when you deal with the live at the club. A lot of people go to certain places because they at a club and they can appear that they're having fun or their life or is happy.
That's why people even go live in places like that. Unless you're promoting the business to bring customers out,
Right.
you're there because you're bored and you don't have anything to do.
Right.
Because if I go somewhere, I'm not thinking like, let me turn on live and show where I'm at or what I'm doing. Those people are actually bored and don't have nothing to do.
And don't have the correct friends that they can sit and talk to and have a meaningful conversation.
Right. If I'm having a good time, ain't no
friends,
to sit there and not talk.
Right. Because if I'm going out and I'm having a meaningful conversation or anything, why would am I bringing out the live? Why am I trying to show everybody at home or across the world what I'm doing in the club? Because when you go live, you're not going live on just your page most times. You're going live for the world. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So people don't even understand that part of live. You know, you think you're going live for just your little town or this and that. There's people in New York see you going live, but I think that's a cry out to sometimes I'm not happy. I'm not really happy for what I'm doing, or maybe it's a crowd. I've been doing this so long now that I can't stop doing it. I got to entertain people that's not here sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Because see, I can understand, like you said, basketball games, football games, stuff like that. But when it come to a club, clubs used to be sacred. You know what I'm saying? You go into a club, sacred. I mean, when you go in a club and, like they say, the hole in the wall, when they know, I had my best time at the hole in the wall. I remember when women used to go out and they could just about dance home. 10 people that night, and don't nobody know it. They can go home and they can be the mama and all that. But see, now when live done came out, now your children, your what's name, everybody can see you dancing or something on live. Oh, I went to Auntie page and I seen my mama whoop. Or you know what I'm saying? People don't understand like that. Like anything one of your family members do and go live or something, it's still if they friends with your children or this and that, your children still got access to the same video. You know what I'm saying? And I think sometimes we got to realize that we probably ain't giving a good example as we think, because I think when you go live and if you got kids and this and that, and your whole thing of going live is, rolling a blunt, dancing on 4, 5 people in the club or this and that. That was stuff that was just, if you want to take a video or something, you want to keep something for yourself or this and that. But it's like you're doing it for the world. You're not even doing it for the people in the club no more. You want so many people. You want to go viral, or you want to get likes, or you trying to figure out a way to make money off your page or something like that. And I think it's a starvation thing too. You know what I'm saying? Because we got so many women doing TikTok now, and it's the same thing. We would embarrass ourselves and we would do so many things that we would never do before, to entertain people.
Yeah.
For likes. So, what you think? Come on with it.
It's out there. So confusion about role shifting, gender expectations, like live some unsure how to show up in relationships, don't know how to express or be clear. We have people don't know, they take a right. You hear people all the time say the man needs to do this for me. The man needs to pay for this meal. The man needs to take me out to eat. The man needs to date me. What does the woman have to do? Most men say she needs to clean, she needs to take care of the kids. So a lot of people get confused about gender roles till you're not even concerned about the relationship or where you're meeting at for each other. Like,
Right.
where's the meeting point? Like, just say, for instance, if you're normally able to cut the grass, things like that, then something happened. You're not able to do that anymore. Will your partner be able to do these things or get it done? So a lot of people get stuck on these roles of what a man or a woman's supposed to do and not what can be done within a relationship. So, it makes it a little different.
Yeah. And even when I used to cut a lot of yards, I remember it was crazy because even married houses, you know, the woman was in charge of getting the yard cut or cutting the yard or arranging that it get cut every week or whatever, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So um usually the man might be the one that might pay for the yard to get cut, but the woman be the one to tell you, oh, cut this, don't hit my flowers. I want you to do this and I want you to do that. And you know, that old type of stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
Agree with you.
Yeah.
All right, next thing.
Okay. Did we talk about the whole thing here? You said that.
Yeah, that's what your last words was, just to cover all of what we were talking about.
Okay. Okay. All right. Is this the next one or are we going to the next
We're going
one? Go ahead.
mental health struggles. Like, people are now facing stress, anxiety, and depression, can block emotional connection. Like, if you're dealing with these stressful things, anxiety, maybe depressed, it can block your emotional connection to someone else. And that's how a lot of times these guys snap out. when they already dealing with mental health or anxiety and they feeling like you're playing with them with a trauma in their lives. They've been through this stuff before, and then they go and do something to you when they feel like they being played with. So these days, young people are not handling walking away or talking to somebody. So you see so many stories nowadays of people being not around here no more because so many people deal with stress and they can't handle this stuff, so it overtakes them.
I'm gonna give you another way to look at this too, because I'm gonna tell you another thing that probably a lot of women ain't realizing what they're doing sometimes. You got a lot of women selling men dreams, selling men a certain thing about them. Um, um, yes, we can say about the man depressed, snapping out, emotional, this and that. But what's making him snap out? What's making him be an emotional, this and that, is somebody selling him something and then
False hopes.
now turning out to be something totally different. Like you got a woman that be like, oh yeah, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't go out. And next thing you know, the man see his woman smoking, or he see his woman drunk, or he see his woman at a club, the same club that she say, I don't go to clubs, I don't go out. A lot of people say stuff and do the opposite and then get mad when they F, what did that? FO, fuck around and find out. That saying, uh, you selling a man a dream that you this way. And then when he get locked up in that dream, he start treating you and he get caught up in thinking you this way, this and that. And then when you come out and you turn around to be not what you sold him, it's the same thing with a woman. If a man tell you, oh yeah, I'm gonna take care of you and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that, and as soon as he start paying the bills, your woman start looking around and he told me he was gonna take care of me. Oh, it been 2 months. He ain't paid nothing over here. She started looking at it, she started thinking, she started redirecting what. See, and then what make it so bad, it could be a test, but it could be a test on the other side that men are not passing because women are playing like they something, because I'm gonna tell you, the biggest, a lot of the biggest lies ever told, is women that say this thing, oh yeah, I'm in the church and I do this and I don't do that and I don't do this. And then when a man find out, oh damn, she is doing this. She is doing this too. She is hanging out, trying to hang out 2, 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, doing this, doing that. She is partying. She is drinking all this stuff she gave me about who she was over here. Half of the time, she's staying away from you so she can be another kind of person over here. The reason a lot of relationships are not working because sometimes the woman sometimes don't want her man to find out who she really are, who she really portrays. You know what I'm saying? She out here, oh yeah, I only fuck with one nigga at a time. I don't do that and this and that. And then when he catch it with another nigga, I thought you ain't, oh, you wasn't tending to me. You wasn't doing this. Then it's on him that he wasn't doing, but the same thing that the woman just said, like you just said earlier, that's too much work. Why don't just break up with the man? No, because a lot of women, that whether they want to say it or not, they want their cake and eat it too. They want to be able to be in a relationship, be secure here, but then they still want to go out and do what they want to do sometimes and say, I ain't gonna tell if you don't tell this. And they want to be a different person sometimes at the year, couple of times a year, be somebody totally different, and then want to go back to being normal Like it ain't.
And loving the person they say they with.
Yeah.
Vice versa. Both men and women be rocking like that. It's just people when your heart is not, how can I put this? When you have a carnal mind, I'm not gonna even say it's your heart because the heart is evil anyway. The heart is evil in the words speak of that. It's wicked. You know, the heart is wicked. It says that. But I'm saying when you create something in your mind and you try to move different and you get away from being a carnal mind, otherwise you're going to be what you desire. And that's the problem. A lot of people choose their desires over what needs to be done. So if that's what you desire to do, you're going to do it. Whether you tell somebody or anybody find out, of course not. If that's something you desire to do, you're going to do it.
But like you said about this depression and dudes snapping out, and
Well,
I
I was just giving from a female perspective of what I've been seeing lately.
right,
I've been seeing so much of it,
yeah,
but I'm sure it was a situation that probably turned some of those guys there.
right.
I'm not knocking that at all, but I'm just saying that if it got you that much that you actually acted upon it, or you let somebody draw you to that level, I don't want anybody to that level where you can't walk away from the situation.
Let me tell you about a lot of situations like this. Say women want certain things. Say woman might want this man to just like a lot of men say, oh, I want to put my head down everywhere, this and that. So think about a man that he call himself, he doing his thing, he's satisfying his woman, he's eating, he doing everything that he feel like he supposed to do. He being freaky, he doing this, he doing that, and he catch her with a man, kissing on a man, or this and that. You know what that man thinking in the back of his mind? Everything she doing to me,
He doing it to him.
And like I tell women all the time, you might think you the same as a man, but if just like going into, that's why they don't put two bulls in a
Pastor
together around the ladies, because they know how fierce a man will fight to a death about the women up in there. And that's in every society. That's the lion, that's the bears, that's even the crocodiles. I was looking at the crocodiles. Even the crocodiles got Archie, where the biggest crocodile don't want nobody else mate with the crocodile woman, the gorillas, all that. This is a natural thing. Rams, deers, all this stuff got a natural thing where they got a area, a turf. And they don't want no other man up in that turf. You know what I'm saying? That's why a man is so fierce about his home. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you might be able to disrespect him out and about, but he'll die for some stuff in his house. You know what I'm saying? That's why even police do not want to combat somebody at their house most of the time. They try to catch them out, moving around or something like that. But at your house, you are most dangerous. And I think a lot of ladies, when they do certain things, like you said, having company, doing any kind of thing around their house, smelling around their house, or like I said, if you into a relationship with a certain type of man, you got to understand what type of man you with and what he is capable of. Because let me tell you something. All bulls, all male cows in a fence is not gonna turn into a dominant bull. You feel what I'm saying? So this the problem sometimes. Women are attracted to dominant bulls, right? But what I'm saying is you have men out there that can do that. that can be in, another man in their space and all that old type of stuff, this and that. But you got to realize if you mess with a certain man that's dominant and not like that, he is not going to like certain men in his space. A man that allows a lot of men in his space like that, he is somewhat, I'm not going to say he's less of a man, but he's very different than the bull that I'm talking about, the dominant males over certain things. You know what I'm saying? It's just like you can have a gang leader and you can have a gang follower down here, but he don't have the same mind state as the leader. You feel what I'm saying? The leader probably would die for trying to be the leader. You feel what I'm saying? And the member is all right with just being the member. You understand what I'm saying? Like even when you look at movies with biker gangs, this and that, and they be talking about challenging for top dog or getting in the fight, it's it's always two real dominant men that can't get along that want to lead the group that gets into it. It's not one of the dudes that just, oh man, I just joined the bike group, but I just like riding. You know what I'm saying? He cool with what he doing. He didn't never want to be the leader. You understand what I'm saying? But a man that's down with being the leader, or he's dominant, he got a whole different mind state than the next man. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. So sometimes women have to be choosy what type of man they pick, what type of man they attracted to. Because if you attract, that's why, like I tell people all the time, even when bulls, reason they have cow sales is to get bulls up out of once they get to a certain age, when they start smelling themselves or whatever, they get in a certain they cannot start mating, because the main bull out there, he see them jump on one of them cows, he gonna come over there and rush. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody in his domain does this. You know what I'm saying? That's why you ain't gonna have a dude that's practicing polygamy and he got 3 girls or 3 girlfriends or whatever, all of them stay in the same house. It don't matter that he got 3. If another dude come up in there and touch any one of them, that dude gonna try to kill that man about them women. You feel what I'm saying? And then you might have, like, you got other dudes that can hang out with women all day long and all that, and he know what it is. He know he don't run nothing, and he cool. I'm just chilling. Want another drink, baby? That's all he. You know what I'm saying? He just cool with just being him. He just not that type of dude. And I think sometimes, women try to put a lot of men in the same cup. They try to, oh, I did it this man, I can do it to this man, and I can do it to this man, because this is how I move. You feel me? And men are created and are all different. So the same thing you can pull over here, you can't pull over there. You know what I'm saying? See, you might be able to, like I said, you might be able to sell to me that you holier than thou, and I'm letting you do your thing, this and that. You sell it to the other dude, he gonna be crossing his T's and dotting his I's, trying to make sure you what you say you are. And that's the man that you got to be very afraid of, because he gonna check stuff when he see you not being what you say you are. He hold you to your word just like you trying to hold him to his word. And that is a dangerous formula sometimes too, that a lot of women say they want, but they really don't want it. Some people want their cake and eat it too. And some men is not going to let you eat the cake and play them a certain kind of way too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I already know.
Yeah. So, and I was talking to somebody today about the mental health. I was thinking about the first part of this, the mental health issue, and he was saying it wasn't that many crazy people out here before, out here and this and that. I said, well, back in the day when we came up, it was mental. We had Wingfield, Whitfield or whatever, that we knew what crazy people was really at. You know what I'm saying? Like even my mom used to work at the seventh floor at the university when they used to house crazy people on there. It was called
I'm
70.
mentally challenged. Mentally challenged.
Well, I ain't trying to get into the technical new
Well,
thing.
I'm just saying, I ain't trying to get gonna come
Because
back.
it's all these new kind of ways of saying stuff than the old way. Trying to make like what me back in the day. I remember we used to call it a janitor, and now they call it the
Custodian.
custodian, and they clean up the names to try to make it feel better. Um,
Make it
like
more professional.
yeah, like a secretary. What's a new word for a secretary now?
Associate or something. What is it? Administrative assistant.
Okay, so it's all kind of different type of things that they clean it up, and they probably could pay more money since they didn't change the name or something of it or something. But like I said, the mental health care facilities, Wingfield and all that, a lot of people you didn't have them out there because we was talking and dude was saying something about he was the partner was talking about the dude was saying that he had just got out of jail and he the dude was kind of mental or whatever. And now they got jail for them now. It used to be a place where they could go and be there. And it used to be, but see, and then a lot of places where they make it where they can go in and out freely. And I remember the mental place back in the day, you get taken to the mental place, you die. It ain't no in and out. You can go downstairs, second floor, or something like that. But you in your certain building. You feel what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
And you got people looking over you and making sure. And on our thing about this freedom thing, because I was looking at the other dude the other night. I don't know if that dude was from New York or something or whatever, but the dude that had been arrested like 72 times
Oh yeah.
and lit the woman on fire or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's no reason for a dude to been arrested 72 times, had 8 felonies, and
Free.
like 9, cases or whatever, 9 other cases or whatever, in and out, 9 stints in jail or whatever, long stints in and out. It shouldn't have been no thing where they should have been out like that. You know what I'm saying? Like if you mental and you're a danger, they got to realize that a lot of these are danger to society. You know what I'm saying? When
Yep.
a person is out here wiping their face, washing their face with mud, going through people's trash and all kind of stuff, getting naked out here and this and that. They don't supposed to be out in the streets. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter what kind of medicine you put them in the facilities and you feed them medicine like that because I remember watching the Joker and I remember them letting all the mental people out of New York. And that's how New York got crazy. And I think about that same thing when I look at it at a small scale in these towns and in these cities in Jackson and all that. Once they open up the mental health and facilities and close some of them down and you just throw them out here, now you got just pure crazy people here and there. Then you got crazy people as in, robbers and other kind of people that's out here too. And they just, it's just crazy. You know what I'm saying? And you can't make sense out of it a lot of times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, can you edit that last one for this one right here? Edit that last one to 9 o'clock.
Oh, you changed it now, huh?
Yeah, for next week. Nah, that 8:30. Yeah, maybe we'll try to get back and what's the name with that. But I think a lot of things that a Joker have to do by the time he get home, trying to get ready to get ready for this show. It's kind of hard to get out here at 8 and 8:30 after you done been running around trying to do certain things. It ain't enough. Look, it's not enough time in the day for a Tuesday. for showtime. And I can agree with that. But that's all I got. You all right? You got anything you want to say? Got any shots out? Any deaths in the family? Anybody you want to shout out this week or whatever?
I'm good.
Okay. Well, like I said, we'll be back next Tuesday at 9 o'clock, and we'll see you then. Nice. And how they say, you ain't got to go home, but you got to get the hell up over here. We'll see y'all later. See you next Tuesday.
Yeah. Trip out, big splash, baby, you can see it. Yeah.
Listen. Okay, what? What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about, Will? Please, I don't have any time for any gossip now. Eh? Yes. Look at it.
Got him! Got him!
How they say?
Vacillation.
Y'all fancy.
Like a man, even if your eyes don't dare to touchdown like
And how they say? We'll see y'all back next week. Be there or be square. Good night. And we'll have another hot topic for you next Tuesday. Peace. And we up out of
Good
here.
night, everybody.
Good night.